Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching Anime Octopus. Today, we're exploring a fascinating alternate scenario. What if Naruko had secretly awakened the Sharingan and chose to keep it hidden? How would that reshape her journey, her relationships, and the balance of power in the shinobi world? Disclaimer. This channel is dedicated to anime-based discussions and entertainment. I do not own any of the anime footage featured. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get into it. A moonlit beginning. A mighty roar echoed through the skies of Konoha one quiet night, the night of October 10th. The nine-tailed fox, a creature of immense chakra known as the Kyubi no Kitsune, had been forcefully extracted from its host, Kushina Namikaze, by the manipulations of Madara Uchiha during the vulnerable moments of childbirth. Despite the chaos, her husband, Minato Namikaze, bravely confronted the beast with his trusted summon, Gamabunta, the great toad boss. Cradling his newborn daughter, Minato's expression was bittersweet as he whispered gently, "Forgive me, little one. I know this burden isn't fair. I cannot seal the Kyubi into Tokiko. If that man, Madara, returns when she grows up, she may be in even greater danger. But sealing the fox into you, Naruko, will make it harder for him to retrieve." With a final look, Minato turned to the rampaging creature. "I'm sorry, Kyubi-san. It's time for you to return." He summoned the strength of the Reaper Death Seal, Shikifujin. In a flash of brilliant light, both Minato and the fox's physical forms vanished. A piece of Minato's spirit and the Kyubi's immense chakra were sealed inside his daughter, Naruko Namikaze. Growing amid shadows. Naruko's childhood in the Hidden Leaf Village was far from ordinary. From the moment she could understand words, she felt an unmistakable weight in the air, looks filled with suspicion, whispers that vanished when she entered a room, and people who refused to smile back. The loneliness she endured, although she didn't understand why, became her daily companion. Despite these hardships, Naruko never gave up. She found solace in training, reading, and observing the stars from her small apartment window. Although there were whispers and rumors, she didn't allow bitterness to grow in her heart, only quiet determination. On the night of her 7th birthday, a large group of villagers, fueled by fear and ignorance, began chasing her through the streets. Though frightened, Naruko sprinted into the maze of alleyways she had memorized through years of escaping similar incidents. They still don't understand. But I won't let this break me, she thought, steadying her breath. As kunai whizzed past her, one grazed her shoulder. She winced but pressed forward. The shadows grew longer, and the mob's voices louder. Suddenly, a warm light enveloped her. She blinked, confused, and noticed a set of radiant weapons surrounding her, shields, spears, and glowing blades. She instinctively touched one. A powerful sensation coursed through her, a strength that wasn't from the Kyubi, but something else. "This isn't the Kyubi's power," she whispered. "It's mine." The turning point. A sudden silence fell over the crowd. Naruko stood tall amidst the glowing weapons, her eyes calm and glowing with lunar energy. "Now. Move aside," she said firmly. The sheer force of her presence caused a shift in the air. The villagers, confused and awestruck, began to retreat. Just then, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, arrived on the scene with several Anbu agents. "Naruko," he began cautiously. "You're late," Naruko replied with no emotion. "Too late to protect anyone." One of the masked Anbu, codenamed Inu, stepped forward. "Watch your tone with the Hokage." Naruko didn't flinch. "Respect is earned. I see no protector, only someone who allowed this to happen repeatedly." Two of the Anbu, Nico and Itachi, stood beside her. They were the only ones she trusted, and their loyalty was unwavering. Sarutobi sighed. "Naruko, we need to talk about what just happened. That power you used." "It's mine," she interrupted. "Not the Kyubi's. And from now on, I will protect myself. No more silence. No more pretending I don't notice the glances, the whispers, the attempts to erase me." Hiruzen tried to offer comfort, but Naruko cut in once more. "If you need to call me anything, refer to me as Rutaxan. That is the name I choose. Until this village proves itself worthy, I won't recognize the name Naruko outside those I trust." The other Anbu remained silent, until Itachi, calm but firm, said, "If the village won't protect her, we will. Assign Nico and me as her guardians, or I will leave the Anbu." Nico nodded in agreement. "This has gone too far, Hokage-sama." Hiruzen, realizing the gravity of the situation, reluctantly agreed. "Very well. You will be her official guardians. Dash. A mind of her own. Later that night, Naruko sat quietly in her apartment, gazing at her hands. The weapons had disappeared, but the sensation remained. What is this power? She murmured. A voice answered her. I can tell you. Startled, Naruko blinked and found herself in a strange place, a tunnel with water trickling below. She looked up and saw a massive gate, behind which rested the Kyuubi. So, you're the one sealed inside me, Naruko said calmly. What's your name? The creature's eyes softened. My name is Tomomi. And yes, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I remember the Yondaime, and I remember being controlled. But you are different. You have strength and kindness even after all you've faced. Naruko stepped closer. This power I used. It wasn't yours, was it? No. That power is yours, your legacy. A rare Kekkei Genkai known as nothingness. It gives you control over light and shadow, and summons powerful weapons. The previous wielders used it with great wisdom, or destruction. Naruko listened intently. Why are you helping me? Tomomi replied, because I have seen your heart. You never deserved the treatment you received. And unlike others, you see people for who they are, not what they carry. With a soft hum of chakra, Tomomi shifted into her human form, a tall woman with silver hair and warm, ruby eyes. I will guide you, Naruko. Together, we will find peace. Naruko smiled faintly. Then let's create a place worth protecting. Dash. A new journey begins. Under the watchful eyes of Nico and Itachi, Naruko, now calling herself Ritaxan in public, began training in the ways of the shinobi. Her affinity for kenjutsu was evident, and her will to rise stronger each day never faltered. Eventually, Sarutobi permitted her entry into the ninja academy. Her presence stirred whispers and unease, but she remained composed. During introductions, her classmates listed their dreams, hobbies, and ambitions. When it came to her turn, she stood calmly. My name is Ritaxan. My hobbies include training and reading. I value friendship and truth. My dislikes include dishonesty and injustice. My dream is to become strong enough to create a future where no one suffers for something beyond their control. And with that, a quiet resolve filled the room. The girl once ignored had become a symbol of perseverance, a future hero of Konoha, born not from legacy, but from heart. Naruko's path, a shinobi's resolve. Shino raised an eyebrow at Naruko's question, replying calmly, but the instructors. Naruko gently interrupted, a true shinobi learns to adapt and make use of every resource available to achieve success. Yes, there are honorable ninja out there. But many learn that strategy, adaptability, and foresight are what often determine the outcome of a mission. Leave the instructors to me. I'll handle that part. Shino nodded slowly, allowing his kikaiku insects to emerge cautiously from his sleeves. Naruko observed them with interest. So, your clan forms a partnership with these insects. Fascinating, she mused. Are there any other clans that use a similar concept? Yes, the Kamizuru clan from Iwagakure does something comparable, Shino answered. Naruko nodded thoughtfully. It's unfortunate that some children are afraid of you because of your unique abilities. But I believe you'll go far with your clan's techniques. Just remember, depending only on your natural gifts can sometimes become a limitation. Diversify your strengths. Suddenly, a shimmer of light flashed in front of Naruko. Calm and composed, she called out, Koi. Shino directed his kikaiku forward, but they were unable to penetrate the protective shield surrounding her. Mizuki approached with a slightly stern look. Ritaxan, Shino. Using advanced techniques during sparring isn't permitted. I may have to give you both extra training time. Actually, Sensei, Naruko replied politely, I was simply asking Shino to demonstrate the essence of a shinobi's adaptability. A ninja is trained to use all advantages, skills, intelligence, and tools, ethically and responsibly. Isn't that part of our learning process, Mizuki-san? Well, yes, but then you'll agree that sometimes, the lesson is not just in technique but in strategy, and recognizing the hidden strengths we each hold, she finished with a confident smile. Caught off guard, Mizuki hesitated, then nodded awkwardly. Very well. Carry on. Shino turned to Naruko in surprise, who simply winked. If you're wondering why your kikaiku couldn't reach me, here's why. Naruko activated her bloodline ability briefly, causing a shimmering field to appear. This is my bloodline ability, called nothingness. I can create protective or offensive constructs with my mind alone. These can levitate, form shields, or even transport me, similar to the flying thunder technique. Incredible, Shino murmured, genuinely impressed. Rutaxan. Please, call me Naruko. I trust you, Shino. I'm sharing my real name and my ability with you. Why? He asked. Because I know what it's like to be different. To be isolated for something you never asked for. Later, Iruka-sensei announced, it's time to test your physical endurance. You'll all be running the obstacle course. Throughout the day, the class worked through the challenges. Naruko achieved the highest score, her previous experience navigating difficult situations giving her a natural advantage, though her performance clearly surprised both Sasuke and Sakura. On her way home, Naruko was stopped by a familiar voice. Naruko-kun, Kuma said gently, sorry to bother you, but the Hokage has shared news of your bloodline with the council, and they've requested to speak with you. Naruko's expression grew serious. Very well. Let's see how well I can handle a room full of opinions. Kuma placed a supportive hand on her shoulder and used the Konoha Sunshine to bring her to the council chambers. So, Naruko said with light sarcasm, what brings the esteemed council to request my presence? We were informed of a bloodline ability, Koharu began. Why was this kept from us? It was personal. Not everything needs to be broadcast to those who've shown me little support, Naruko replied calmly. Kushina, her voice sharp, demanded, you will show respect to this council. Naruko looked at her with a steady gaze. Respect is something earned, not automatically given. I've watched this council do very little for those who need help the most. If I seem guarded, it's for good reason. Kushina bristled. Do not speak of my husband. Former husband, Naruko corrected. And I will speak truthfully. If he had chosen a different path, maybe sealing the beast into someone the village would have defended, it would have spared a lot of hardship. But here I am, learning to stand tall despite it all. Kushina moved as if to protest further, but Naruko raised a protective field instinctively. You don't need to agree with me, she said. But you will listen. Fugaku's expression turned thoughtful. What exactly is that ability of yours? It's not relevant to this discussion, Naruko replied professionally. Homura slammed a hand on the table. You will cooperate with us. Naruko's voice remained calm but firm. Or what? Remove me from duty? I'd still be free to work with others if I so chose. But instead, I'm offering a compromise. She stood tall, addressing the room. I only ask for access to the resources every other shinobi has, supplies, training support, and equal treatment. That is my request. It's reasonable, and I believe it reflects fairness. There was a pause. Then Hiashi Hyuga stood. I support Naruko's proposal. She has carried a burden with strength and has not let it define her. I believe she can be an asset to Konoha. Other clan heads followed suit. The Yamanaka clan agrees, Inoiki said. As do the Nara clan. The Akimichi clan supports this. So does the Aburame clan. The Inuzuka clans with the pup, Sume added with a knowing grin. Kushina protested, this isn't fair. And was it fair when your husband chose a child he didn't protect? Sume asked. Naruko was left alone to carry a burden meant to be shared. Kushina started to say something further, but Naruko's energy shield glimmered in warning. Choose your words wisely, she said. Eventually, Kushina sat back and said, the Namikaze clan declines. The Uchiha clan also disagrees, Fugaku followed. The Sarutobi clan withholds support. Naruko didn't flinch. So be it. I appreciate the honesty. As for the rest, I thank you. Perhaps now we can begin to move forward. That night, Itachi visited her room quietly. Naruko. Yes, Itachi-ni-san? I don't think I'll see you or Yugao-chan again for a long time. What? Why? My clan was planning something. The elders have ordered me to act to protect the village. But I've ensured that the innocent will remain unharmed. Be strong for Sasuke, and keep him grounded. Naruko's eyes filled with tears. I understand. He handed her his old tanto. This is yours now. Be careful, and trust your instincts. I've also left evidence to help you in the future. How did you? I trained you, remember? I know your strengths. Thank you for being my friend. Naruko nodded silently. He gently tapped her forehead, and in a burst of warm flame, vanished. The last image she held of him was his soft smile, the one he reserved only for his younger brother, Naruko, and Yugao. Flashback ends. The next day, Naruko returned to the academy, where whispers and rumors were buzzing throughout the classroom about what had happened to Sasuke's family. Did you hear what happened to the Uchiha clan last night? No, what happened? I heard something strange happened, and it involves Sasuke's older brother. Really? Is Sasuke-kun okay? Yeah, I think he's in the hospital. I doubt he'd be at school today after something so serious. My dad said there wasn't much evidence to confirm anything. Naruko quietly smiled to herself at the comment. Thanks, Itachi-ni-san, for the early birthday gift, she thought as she looked up and noticed a raven soaring through the sky. Eventually, all the students gathered in the classroom, still murmuring about the Uchiha incident. Iruka stepped in and addressed the class. All right, everyone, please settle down. Today we'll. He was interrupted as Sasuke Uchiha entered the classroom alongside his mother, Mikoto, and Mizuki-sensei. Welcome back, Sasuke, Iruka greeted warmly. HN, Sasuke responded shortly. The friendly look that once graced his face had been replaced by a distant, quiet expression. All right, go ahead and take your seat, Iruka instructed. Sasuke walked to his desk and sat down silently, placing his fingers together, deep in thought. Iruka then continued the lesson. Now then, who can tell me who the first Hokage was? When lunch break arrived, Naruko sat beneath her favorite tree, enjoying her bento box in peace. Her attention was drawn to the soft sound of someone quietly crying nearby. Turning around, she saw it was Tenten, an old friend of hers from the orphanage. She was a year older and in a more advanced class. Hey, Bun, what's got you down? Naruko asked gently, a small smile on her face. Tenten quickly wiped her tears and turned around, surprised. Naruko-chan. In the flesh. So, how's life treating you, Mouse-chan? Naruko teased playfully. Doing all right, number 13, Tenten replied, referencing Naruko's old nickname from their days at the orphanage. Naruko always had fun nicknames for Tenten, though Tenten could only come up with number 13 due to Naruko's constant streak of bad luck. Oh yeah? Then why the tears? Tenten lowered her head and mumbled something, but Naruko leaned closer. Come on, Tenten, tell me what's really bothering you. Tenten spoke quietly. Everyone in my class keeps judging me because I'm good with weapons. Everyone except Ayane-san and Lee-san. That's it? Naruko asked with concern, but her voice remained calm and supportive. Listen, don't let others make you feel bad about being talented. They're just jealous. You've got a gift, Tenten. Don't be ashamed of that. Tenten managed a small smile. Thanks, Naruko-chan. So, you're in the academy too? Yup. The old Hokage helped get me in. Tenten asked hesitantly, are you still staying at the orphanage? Naruko shook her head. Nope. After you left, I had to move out, but I've found a place with a kind couple. They've been really good to me, so I'll be fine. Tenten nodded quietly. She remembered how unfairly Naruko had been treated back then, and it still made her heart ache. Just then, Tenten heard the bell. Looks like my class is headed to the training fields. I'll catch you later, Mouse-chan, Naruko said with a playful wink. Tenten blushed. Don't call me that. She called after her, but smiled as Naruko walked away. That Naruko-chan. Back in class, Mizuki-sensei spoke up, okay, Sasuke. You're first. Throw these shuriken at the targets. Sasuke silently complied, and each of the shuriken landed precisely in the center of the target. The girls in class cheered while a few boys grumbled in defeat. All right, Tokiko-chan, your turn, Mizuki said encouragingly. Tokiko stepped forward and threw her shuriken. Most of them landed just shy of the bullseye. Nice job, Tokiko, Mizuki said with a smile as a few students applauded. Rutaxan, come forward. Naruko noticed Mizuki's tone and discreetly inspected the shuriken. They seemed heavier than usual. Rutaxan calmly stepped forward, locked eyes with ME, and threw his shuriken with precise aim, all of them hitting the center. Excellent work, Mizuki commented, though his smile appeared slightly strained. But sensei! One of the fangirls exclaimed. Nobody's supposed to be better than Sasuke-kun. He must have cheated. Naruko turned her head calmly and replied with a cool, even voice, if your argument is that someone can't be skilled unless they're your favorite, maybe you should work on improving yourself instead of assuming others cheat. The room fell silent. Naruko, usually quiet, had rarely spoken, so her words carried unexpected weight. Iruka stepped in. All right, class, that's enough. ME, you're up next. But sensei, aren't you going to punish Rutaxan for cheating? Iruka remained composed. Ah yeah, if Rutaxan had done anything inappropriate, Mizuki-sensei or I would have noticed. He trains very hard, and his efforts speak for themselves. It's important to respect the work others put in. Surprisingly, Tokiko Namikaze nodded in agreement. Naruko didn't wait for more reactions, she had already left the training field. Later, Naruko returned to her peaceful spot beneath the cherry blossom tree. It was her sanctuary, a quiet escape from the noise of the day. Suddenly, she heard footsteps approaching. She opened one eye to see Sasuke standing in front of her, several of his classmates gathered behind him. "What brings you here, Uchiha?" Naruko asked, remaining seated. "I think you tampered with those shuriken," Sasuke stated firmly. "My father always said the Uchiha clan is unmatched." Naruko gave a calm, knowing chuckle. "Your father used to say that. But titles mean nothing without effort." "Watch your words," Sasuke snapped. Naruko stood, brushing herself off. "Look, I'm not interested in arguments. I've got better things to do than entertain pointless drama. If you don't trust my skills, that's your problem, not mine." She began walking away, but Sasuke called out something he would regret. "Then maybe I'll make sure Ayane has a hard time." Naruko froze. Her expression changed, but her voice remained firm and mature. "Don't drag others into something they have nothing to do with," she said with quiet strength. "You're angry, and I understand that. But if you truly want to prove yourself, do it through training and discipline, not threats." The wind rustled the blossoms above them, and Naruko walked away calmly, leaving Sasuke and his crowd behind, deep in thought. A fateful encounter, the story of Naruko Uzumaki. "What did you say?" Naruko whispered softly. "I said I'll make Ayane's life extremely difficult," came the cold reply. "You can't be serious. She's your family." Naruko thought, frowning deeply. Ayane Uchiha, daughter of Mitsuki Uchiha, had always been treated unfairly. Her unique Sharingan had red tomoe with a dark background, unlike the traditional black tomoe. Because of this unusual trait, the clan treated her as different, lesser even. Her strength was constantly underestimated. Naruko first met Ayane under the old sakura tree. She had been crying after some classmates bullied her. Since that day, Naruko felt a deep sense of empathy for her. "She's a failure, just like you," Sasuke said coldly, wearing an arrogant smirk. Naruko clenched her fists, trying to hold back the wave of emotion. "Fine. I'll switch sparring partners. I'll take your place, Shino." "Perfect," Sasuke responded flatly, walking off with his usual group of admirers. They didn't notice the sudden shift in the wind or the quiet transformation taking place in Naruko's eyes, now tinged with determination. Later during sparring practice, Naruko stood opposite Sasuke, her expression calm and unreadable. "You showed up. I expected you to back out," Sasuke said tauntingly. "You didn't really leave much of a choice, Uchiha," Naruko replied in an even tone. "Let's begin." The two took their respective stances. Sasuke launched forward, leading with a strong right punch, but Naruko leaned back gracefully to dodge, then sidestepped a low kick aimed at her knee. She countered with a swift jab, which Sasuke caught, but Naruko twisted expertly, dislodging his grip and delivering a clean uppercut that knocked him off his balance. Gasps filled the training ground. Sasuke quickly recovered and lunged forward again, but Naruko anticipated his move. With a well-timed flip, she brought him to the ground again. "I won't lose to you," Sasuke shouted, frustrated. He aimed a high kick at Naruko's head, which she dodged before taking a hit to the stomach and cheek. Naruko staggered slightly but recovered, reading Sasuke's increasingly aggressive and reckless movements. With a sudden sweep kick, she brought him down once more and delivered a precise elbow strike to his midsection, leaving him breathless. "Never speak carelessly about the people I care for, Uchiha," she whispered before walking away. "Respect is earned. Arrogance helps no one." Suddenly, a kunai landed near her feet. Naruko looked up to see Sakura Haruno, her arm outstretched, face flushed with frustration. "How did you block that? I didn't even see you move." Sakura asked sharply. "Why did you throw that kunai at me?" Naruko asked calmly. "Because you hurt Sasuke-kun, you freak," Sakura shouted. "It was a sparring match, Haruno-san," Naruko replied. "In battle, strength matters, not favoritism. If you can't understand that, perhaps you need more training." Iruka arrived moments later. "Sakura, take Sasuke to the infirmary." Turning to Naruko, Mizuki asked, "How did you block that kunai?" Naruko replied, "I don't believe I owe you an explanation." Without waiting for a response, she returned to her favorite tree, her expression pensive. You didn't have to go that far, you know, said a voice. Naruko turned and smiled slightly. Ayane. You're okay? Ayane nodded. Tenten told me you enrolled in the academy. I heard about today. I had to make a point, Naruko said. People need to know that you deserve respect. I'm getting stronger, Ayane said with pride. Mikoto-sama has been protecting me, and I've been training every day. I've changed, too, Naruko said. I discovered my family's bloodline, a legacy of hidden weapons I can summon. Swords, spears, even halberds. Really? That's incredible. I'll do whatever it takes to protect the people I care about, Naruko said softly. Even if others don't understand. 4 years later. Naruko had matured, now wearing a sleek black coat, fitted shirt, and pants tailored for mobility. Tenten and Ayane had graduated with high honors. Tenten joined Team Guy with Neji and Rock Lee, while Ayane became the apprentice of Gekko Hayate, renowned swordsman of the village. Yugao Uzuki, Hayate's fiancé, served as Naruko's trusted guardian. The Jinan test arrived, Bunshin no Jutsu. Such a basic skill, Naruko thought. But I suppose it's part of the process. When her name was called, she entered the room confidently. Please perform the technique, said Mizuki. Bunshin no Jutsu, she declared. 5 perfect clones stood beside her. Congratulations, Naruko. You've passed. Naruko smiled softly. This test isn't exactly groundbreaking, but I appreciate the recognition. As she walked out, she noticed the forced smiles from several parents watching nearby. In return, she smiled politely and displayed her headband. The room grew quiet. She continued walking until. You, said a voice behind her. Naruko stopped. It was Kushina Namikaze, her tone tense. Naruko turned slightly. Do you need something? Kushina whispered, how did you pass? For someone once entrusted with such great responsibility, Naruko said quietly, you shouldn't be so quick to judge others. The past doesn't define us, but your words might. She walked away, leaving Kushina deep in thought. That night. Naruko trained in secret, honing her skills. Suddenly, she heard clashing nearby and went to investigate. She found Iruka in combat with Mizuki. Something was wrong. A large scroll sat beside Mizuki, along with his oversized shuriken. Naruko's eyes narrowed, the scroll of seals. It contained techniques that could be dangerous in the wrong hands. She threw a spear between them, interrupting the fight. Mizuki's the one trying to take the scroll, she said. Don't be fooled. Stay out of this, Mizuki shouted. I've seen the truth, Mizuki. You've never seen me as anything more than a burden. But I'm not here to argue, I'm here to stop you. Naruko summoned her weapons. This is my bloodline, the Rei no Ken. 2 ethereal blades appeared, one white and one black. Meet Oathkeeper and Oblivion. They represent bonds, both forged and repaired. Mizuki raised his own weapons. We'll see how strong your bonds really are. Naruko stepped forward, calm and focused, ready to defend the village, and the people she loved. Naruko advanced toward Mizuki with determination as he hurled a shuriken her way. She swiftly deflected it using her blade, Oblivion, maintaining her poise. Mizuki smirked, pulling back one arm, attempting a counterattack. Naruko quickly sidestepped, narrowly avoiding a strike, though a shallow cut grazed her side. Undeterred, Naruko retaliated, swinging her other weapon, Oathkeeper. Mizuki blocked it with his left-hand shuriken and tried to sweep her feet, but Naruko leapt back with precision. Without hesitation, Mizuki launched into the air, and Naruko pursued him across the tree branches. Their weapons clashed mid-air before Naruko pushed off with momentum, sending Mizuki tumbling to the ground below. Watching from a distance, Iruka stood in awe at how one of his most recent students was matching, and outmaneuvering, his former comrade. Give up, Mizuki shouted, lunging forward with another attack. Naruko expertly parried the blow with Oathkeeper and used Oblivion to snap the wires tied to Mizuki's fingers, disarming him. Her eyes momentarily shimmered a vibrant crimson as she stated firmly, your schemes end here. With precision, she hurled Oathkeeper, which Mizuki barely dodged, responding with a shuriken of his own. Naruko, calm and focused, used Oblivion in a graceful dual-handed movement to slice Mizuki's projectile clean in half, rendering it ineffective. Realizing he was at a disadvantage, Mizuki quickly weaved hand signs. Fire style, Phoenix flower technique, he exclaimed, sending a volley of fireballs. Naruko agilely avoided the attack as Mizuki tried to escape toward a distant object. But if he had been more observant, he might have seen the subtle smile forming on Naruko's lips. Just as Mizuki reached for the fallen Oathkeeper, it shimmered and reappeared in Naruko's hand in an instant. Her movement was fluid as she performed a refined cross-slash, knocking him off balance. "It's over, Mizuki," she said calmly. You're not normal," Mizuki whispered, disoriented. Naruko's expression softened, but her voice remained firm. "I am not what you imagine. I am a Jinchuriki, a protector, not a monster. My existence is not a curse, but a legacy of resilience." Mizuki stumbled back, defeated. Naruko turned to Iruka with concern. "Are you all right, Iruka-sensei?" Iruka, still catching his breath, nodded. "Yes. Thank you, Naruko." "I'm grateful you finally called me by my name," Naruko said with a small, appreciative smile. Just then, Anbu operatives arrived on the scene. Naruko glanced their way. "You took your time. If I hadn't intervened, the scroll of seals would have vanished. Perhaps I should have just done a harmless prank in bright orange to get your attention faster." The Anbu collected Mizuki, now unconscious and restrained. Naruko retrieved the scroll of seals, accompanied Iruka to the hospital, and later secured the authentic scroll in a hidden location, returning a copy to the Hokage for safekeeping. When Naruko returned home, she called out, "Hayate, Yu-Gao, I'm home." Her guardians emerged, surprised by her disheveled state. "Naruko, your clothes are in terrible shape again," Hayate remarked. "I had a difficult encounter. Mizuki attempted to betray the village and hurt Iruka-sensei. I stepped in and put an end to his actions," Naruko explained plainly. Yu-Gao nodded approvingly. "You acted with honor and courage. I'm proud of your integrity. Iruka-sensei always treated me with kindness. I wasn't about to stand by and do nothing," Naruko added before heading upstairs to rest. As she left, Yu-Gao sighed, "Hayate-kun, our village overlooks what truly matters. The more they push her away, the more resilient she becomes." Hayate agreed, "Naruko has endured more than most. I only hope the village realizes her worth before they drive her too far." The next day, Naruko appeared before the Hokage and the village council. "Welcome, Nar." "Rutaxin," Naruko corrected calmly. "Let's not repeat that mistake, Sarutobi." The Hokage nodded. "Of course. Please, have a seat." "I prefer to stand, Hokage-sama," Naruko said respectfully, but firmly. "Please recount the events regarding Mizuki's betrayal," asked Shini Aburame. Naruko's tone turned formal and composed. "Certainly, Shini-sama. I was training in the forest, as it is the only place where I find peace. Unfortunately, my presence seems to attract constant surveillance due to my status as the Nine Tails vessel, which I did not choose. Even the Hokage has been observing me remotely." Saya Haruno interjected, "You're under watch because of your past actions. Several villagers and shinobi have been harmed." Naruko responded evenly, "Those instances were defensive. The Sandaime himself stated that no child, myself included, was to know about the Nine Tails legacy or be subjected to hatred for it. And yet, many still violate that decree by labeling me a monster. I merely defended myself when provoked beyond reason." A brief tension filled the room as Mikoto Uchiha stood up. "Naruko-san, please be careful with your accusations," she said cautiously, her Sharingan activating. "If this is a fabrication, I will know." Naruko calmly stepped forward, unshaken. She placed a set of carefully sealed documents and photographs on the table. "I am not here to stir conflict, only to present the truth. These were provided to me by a reliable source." Mikoto reviewed the materials. Her expression turned solemn. "I recognize these markings," she said quietly, lowering her gaze. Kushina, observing from the side, frowned. "Perhaps it's a trick. A genjutsu." Naruko responded coolly, "Kushina-san, I am unable to cast illusions due to the chakra imbalance caused by your husband's sealing technique. If anything, I'm immune to genjutsu, not capable of using it. I do not deceive, I reveal." Sarutobi gently spoke, "But Naruko, we are not your enemies." Naruko met his eyes with steady resolve. "Then act like allies, not wardens. I want peace, not conflict. But peace must be rooted in truth, understanding, and respect." Council chamber, Konoha, tensions rise. "Ha! My so-called enemies?" Naruko gave a short, humorless laugh. "That's amusing. I've seen the ambition in your eyes, you wanted me to remain loyal, To be a tool simply because I carry the Kyuubi and now possess my own Kekkei Genkai. The civilian council even looked like they were considering strange and manipulative ways to control me. As far as I see it, those with hidden agendas are the real threats. As for the rest of you, I'm cautious, except for the one I call Tomato Head. Just then, Kushina lunged at Naruko, brandishing a blade. Calmly, Naruko summoned one of her wind lances and parried the strike effortlessly. You know, I could retaliate for attacking me, but I'd rather let your conscience be the reminder of choices made, Naruko said calmly. Kushina. Stand down at once. This is a council meeting, not a battlefield. The Sandaime Hokage ordered firmly. The Namikaze matriarch glared at Naruko but returned to her seat reluctantly. Mikoto, seated nearby, whispered, "When did all this begin? And how did Itachi know about any of it?" Naruko's expression softened slightly. "Are you sure you want to hear the truth, Mikoto-san?" Mikoto nodded, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes. Please." It started 2 years before the unfortunate Uchiha incident. Itachi became suspicious of Fugaku, though he couldn't catch him directly. I discovered the truth while practicing my stealth training. Fugaku and Saya had a recurring pattern, meeting every Thursday and Sunday at a local hotel under false names. I managed to gather visual proof using night vision equipment without alerting them. Saya gasped, "That's not true." "Please, refrain from interrupting," Mikoto said coldly, her gaze intense. "Go on, Naruko-san." "Thank you, Mikoto-san. I collected the evidence because I knew revealing it prematurely would be dismissed, especially during your grieving. I waited until now, when the truth could be seen clearly. I couldn't allow Fugaku or Saya to manipulate others while hiding behind deception." "And how did you know Saya's child was Fugaku's?" Mikoto asked with quiet restraint. Naruko replied, "I've studied many seals and illusions. Fugaku placed one on the child, Takeshi Haruno. It masked his lineage, but I deciphered it. He's actually Takeshi Uchiha." Saya's face paled. "Please. Don't take my son." Naruko looked at her evenly. "Your actions led to this, Saya-san. I'm not seeking revenge. But consequences still follow choices. Mikoto has every right to ensure her family's legacy is protected." Mikoto nodded. "Let her live with the weight of her choices. That is punishment enough." Saya knelt, her voice shaking, "Please, anything but taking my son. He means everything to me." Naruko lowered her voice. "You once harmed me, remember? Gave me the scar." She pulled down her collar slightly to reveal a small, faint mark. "Now, everything you cherished has been taken from you, not by force, but by truth." She turned to Sarutobi. "Please have Anbu escort Saya home and keep a watchful eye on her. I'm concerned for young Sakura's well-being." The Hokage nodded. "Understood." Naruko then turned to Kushina, her gaze sharp yet composed. "Just as you saw what happened today, be careful not to walk a similar path. Let's avoid further regret." Koharu interjected, "Are you threatening Tokiko Namikaze?" "Not at all," Naruko replied calmly. "I'm simply offering a word of caution. Actions have consequences." She then resumed. "Now, regarding why I came here, during a recent incident, I heard Iruka-sensei and Mizuki arguing. Iruka was injured, and I intervened. Mizuki tried to manipulate the situation, but I defended Iruka. By the time Anbu arrived, the conflict was already resolved." The Hokage frowned. "Why didn't Anbu get there in time?" Naruko folded her arms. "I wonder that too. Perhaps because Iruka is my friend? A concerning coincidence." Sarutobi narrowed his eyes. "I will not tolerate threats, Naruko." "I understand. I only wish such dedication was shown earlier. Konoha should stand for all its people, not only those favored by the council." Shikaku Nara sighed after Naruko left the chamber. "Well, this changes everything." Chozo raised a brow. "How so?" "Because she now holds influence, truthfully earned, over many here. And the council? She has likely gathered evidence over the years against those who tried to harm her. She's cautious but calculated. She's not the weapon they wanted, she's the blade they didn't see coming." Hyashi Hyuga nodded. "Push her too far, and we won't like what comes next." The civilian members looked visibly uneasy, while the Hokage and elders were deep in thought. Later, in the academy classroom. Naruko entered to find Iruka in bandages. She gave a light-hearted smirk. "Well, sensei, you look like you've had quite the day." Iruka chuckled softly. "Thank you for stepping in, Naruko. Mizuki's betrayal hurt more than the wound," He pretended to be my friend for years. Naruko nodded. I hope his girlfriend doesn't hold a grudge. Be careful, some may try to harm you indirectly through association with me. Who would do that? Let's just say. Some people value their power more than people. But enough of that. Students soon filtered into the room, excited and talkative. Sakura raised a hand. Sensei, where's Mizuki? Iruka stood tall. Mizuki has been taken into custody after attempting to steal from the village. He won't be returning. Flashback, team assignments. In the Hokage's office, Jonin instructors gathered. Kurenai, who would you like for your team? Asked the Hokage. Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame, she replied. Their skills will form an excellent tracking team. Asuma? I'll take the next Ino Shikacho trio. Kakashi, you'll get Tokiko Namikaze, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno. And I'll take Naruko Uzumaki, Anko interrupted, entering the room with a dengo stick in her mouth. You? Kakashi asked. Yes. She's sharp, disciplined, and her abilities are perfect for stealth and intel work. I think I'd be a better fit as her mentor. The Hokage raised his hand. Very well. Team 7 will be Tokiko, Sasuke, and Sakura under Kakashi. Naruko will train under Anko Mitarashi. Dismissed. End of flashback. Team 7 will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, Iruka announced, pausing briefly as the class erupted in excited whispers, and Tokiko Namikaze. That was followed by a mixture of fan squeals, surprised gasps, Sasuke's subtle smirk, and more than a few classmates sighing or shaking their heads in disbelief. Team 13 will be Ritaxan only, Iruka continued, prompting an awkward silence to descend across the room. Team 8 will include Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga, and Kiba Inuzuka. Team 10 is made up of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akimichi. Team 11. Iruka carried on, completing the list of teams. Once finished, he gave the room a kind smile. You all now have a 30-minute break. Please use this time to become acquainted with your teammates. While students dispersed to mingle and talk, Tokiko Namikaze made her way toward the back of the room where Ritaxan sat quietly. She offered a friendly smile. It looks like we'll be teammates, Ritaxan-san, she greeted, extending her hand. I'm Tokiko Namikaze. I'm looking forward to working with you. Ritaxan, whose true name few were privy to, raised an eyebrow. Why are you talking to me, Namikaze? Don't you have more important things to do? Tokiko chuckled awkwardly, rubbing the back of her head. Not really. Sakura refuses to believe that I don't have a crush on Sasuke, and Sasuke keeps acting strange around me. But you're kind of a mystery. I never really got the chance to talk to you before. You always seem to disappear. And I plan to keep it that way, Ritaxan replied calmly. I don't trust easily. Why is that? Tokiko asked softly. Did your mother ask you to approach me? To try and earn my trust for some secret agenda? What? No. In fact, my mother never wanted me to talk to you at all. Then we have no reason to be having this conversation. Please leave. Tokiko's voice dropped to a whisper. I know what happened in the past. What my father did. I know it was wrong. But I'm not the reason things went that way. I just want to work as a good teammate. Ritaxan finally turned away from the window to look her in the eyes. If our roles were reversed, if I had the family and status you do, and you had mine, wouldn't you feel the same? Resentment runs deep, not against you, but against what your parents chose to do. Your mother and I used to have something in common once. But regardless, I'll tolerate your presence only because we're assigned to the same team. That's it. Tokiko blinked, slightly taken aback by the cold resolve in Ritaxan's tone. You or your mother don't need to worry, Ritaxan continued. As long as you don't harm my friends, I won't interfere with you. Still uneasy, Tokiko turned away and took a seat a few rows in front. That was serious, she thought to herself, trembling slightly. The intensity in her voice. She really meant every word. You know, that wasn't exactly the friendliest approach, a calm voice came from beside Ritaxan. It was Tomomi, speaking through the mental link they shared. She sounded sincere. I understand, Ritaxan replied mentally, but sincerity isn't the only thing that determines trust. I've known you for 6 years, Tomomi. You've never once lied to me. That's why I trust you. All I'm saying is, maybe give her a chance. If I'm wrong, I'll accept the consequences without complaint. Ritaxan sighed. All right, deal. But don't expect me to treat her like a close friend overnight. Suddenly, Sakura's voice rang out through the room. Hey! What did you say to Tokiko-chan? That's none of your concern, Rutaxan replied coolly. You should focus on your own priorities. Sasuke frowned, partly due to Sakura's involvement and partly because of Tokiko being the subject of conversation. At that moment, Anko Mitarashi stepped in. Rutaxan. Rutaxan rose silently and followed her, leaving Team 7 to await their Jonin instructor, Kakashi. Introductions. Alright, now that we're all here, Anko began, her usual energy shining through. Let's start with introductions. Your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams. I'll go first. I'm Anko Mitarashi. I enjoy training, festivals, sweets, especially Dengo, spending time with friends, and walking through the forest. I dislike arrogance, overconfidence, and dishonesty. My hobbies include hosting team gatherings and exploring new training techniques. My dream is to live freely and maybe settle down with someone who can handle my energy. Rutaxan nodded slightly. I go by Rutaxan. That's not my real name, but few people in this village have earned the right to know it. I like training, reading, unique weaponry, and my friends, though I won't name them. I admire the Hyuga clan's discipline, and I respect my former mentors. My dislikes include unfair judgment, corruption in leadership, and those who pretend to care when they don't. My hobbies are writing and refining my skills. As for my dream, let's just say I'll let you figure that out. Namikaze residence. Tokiko stepped into her home, calling out, Ka-san, I'm home. Kushina appeared quickly, embracing her daughter. Welcome back, sweetheart. Did everything go well? Did she treat you kindly? Tokiko smiled gently. I tried to speak with her. To understand why she seems to resent us. I've told you, Kushina replied carefully. She feels threatened because of the past. It's complicated. It's more than that, Ka-san. She said I remind her of what her life could have been. And that you and she used to have something in common. Kushina forced a soft smile. She's mistaken, my dear. Really? Tokiko asked thoughtfully. If I were in her place, would you treat me the same way? Before Kushina could respond, their meal arrived, thankfully distracting Tokiko from pushing further. But Kushina's mind was unsettled. Perhaps it's time I speak to her directly, Kushina thought, her expression hardening slightly. Hayate residence. You got Anko-sensei as your team leader? Yugao asked, surprised. Naruko, sipping green tea gracefully, nodded. That's right. Well. She's definitely a force of nature, Yugao said with a small smile. Naruko offered a thoughtful glance. I think she'll be fair. Yugao leaned in. Just remember to keep your guard up. And about Saya Haruno. I heard she's been struggling emotionally. Are you alright? Naruko nodded. I've been careful. She won't do anything reckless if she still values the people around her. Yugao nodded gravely. Stay safe, little sister. People can change, but not always for the better. I know. But I trust Ayane's judgment. Sasuke. He's the only one I'm wary of. He knows about Ayane and me. If he ever tries something, we'll be ready. You're strong, Naruko, Yugao said gently, hugging her. You've come so far. Thanks, Nate-chan. I'll be gone for a few weeks on a mission with Hayate-kun and Ayane-chan. Try not to break anything while we're gone. Naruko smiled. I make no promises. Yugao chuckled and pinched Naruko's cheek. Take care. And remember, you're not alone. Uchiha complex. At the Uchiha estate, Mikoto watched as her young grandson played joyfully. With his dark hair and jade-colored eyes, he was a reflection of both his parents. Mikoto, however, carried the weight of everything her family had endured. Itachi isolated himself and then vanished. My husband was unfaithful. And the truth behind everything finally came to light, she thought, remembering the day Naruko revealed the affair that shattered her trust. Now, she could see how the village's politics had influenced her younger son as well. Someone with that kind of truth usually wants something in return, Mikoto muttered thoughtfully. I should go see what she wants. She called out, Ayane, please watch Takeshi until your sensei arrives. Make sure he's with Kurohime when Hayate-san arrives. Yes, Oba-san. Mikoto nodded and vanished in a swirl of flame, her destination set, a quiet meeting with Naruko. Naruko, meanwhile, glanced toward the door as a soft knock echoed through her home. Now who could that be? She wondered. Dear YouTube family. That's a wrap for now, but the adventure doesn't end here. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep the anime octopus growing strong. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay awesome. With gratitude. Anime Octopus.